Ko le ke hufanga he tala malo e whanua, whakatap ki he hou eiki o ku mea a, whakatolo at ki a takilotu mo haa whaiwhekau, tulo mo haa poto, haa punake mo haa taukei kai, a tā mo oko ai whangamari en. Just briefly, just an acknowledgement to the sacred land, to any royalty or nobility that may be present, acknowledgement to any religious leaders and also to any experts in their fields present. So malo tā lava, ko hoki ingoa ko saia whunawhau te tahi, ko whae ko te pō halaholo te tahi, le mai me mauwhanga pia mō kau, ko te mai ko sione tui tahi, o le mai me he kau waiha anō i Pukotala, na e whanau iau i Tonga Tapu, na ku tupu hake i Nusilani, pe koe kulono tonga nofo i Nusilani. Malo a pito. Malo te lava, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Really beautiful to see all your faces here. I'm just going to move us on from that introduction into just some housekeeping. Just a quick background on Ōwhaki Tonga. This group was initially had the name of Otswad, which is an abbreviation for one Tongan word a day. It was started as an IG group thread by Elizabeth Kite to encourage learning a Tongan word daily. And so that thread was then expanded in May last year, 2020, into a virtual Zoom Talanoa space, inviting anyone who wished to learn the Tongan language and culture to meet weekly and discuss any Tongan words, phrases, proverbs, etc. And then this year, in February 2021, the Honorable Federica Tuita was invited as a guest speaker. And she conveyed to us that her mother, Her Royal Highness Princess Pilolevu herself, wanted to gift the group the name of Ōwhaki Tonga for us in the diaspora to remember the love for our motherland. And so here in a space we meet weekly on Zoom, which is open to all. You can find us in multiple online platforms, Instagram, Discord, Twitter, under @okt.talanoa. You'll see some links pop up in the chat. And once a month, we welcome guest speakers from our Tongan community to have an open Q&A talanoa like today. So thank you, Alisi, for being here with us today. We look forward to learning and practicing tauhi wā with each other. Just wanted to welcome any newcomers and those chiming in. Part of our Zoom etiquette is you're welcome to leave your cameras on and off if you want. Also your mics, but if there is a bit of noise in the background, we encourage you to mute your mic just so there's a bit of clarity and from the speaker. If you don't want your photo taken, we do take some pictures throughout the space, so we'll let you know beforehand. So if you don't want to, if you want some time to put on your makeup, then we'll let you know. Tauhi wā, this is a safe space, and we want you to consider this idea of tauhi wā, that we're all learning. This is a self-learning space and self-teaching, and so we come from different backgrounds, different levels, and so we welcome everyone to feel free to share what you know, but please be respectful of everyone's different journeys. And so we welcome open-mindedness, others' experiences and perspectives, and if there is something that may have made you feel uncomfortable that was said, then please reach out and let us know. We're always flexible to change and open to suggestions and think about how we can, refine our tauhi wā. I'll close our housekeeping there, and I'll pass on to Melefatai, who will be our facilitator for the space. Malo, Melefatai.
Malo saya, gole ke hufanga he whakatapu ko osi hona hauwhaki. Malo lele ko hoku hingoa ko Melefatai. Thank you everyone who participated thus far for opening up this space. I also just want to acknowledge our note taker for today, Danny, who will be making some notes from today's Talanoa, and also Lisiate, who will be moderating our chat. He's also dropped some links, so feel free to check them out. But yeah, so happy to have you all and see you all here and see the family who are here to support Alisi. The floor is all yours, Alisi. Let me know when you're ready to share.
Thank you, Melefatai. Thank you so much, everyone. So, malo lele, ka taki oku ikai ke sai aku lea whakatonga, ko hoku hingawa, ko Alisi, Malika, Margaret, Jack, Kaufusi, ko hoku tau ua valueni. Ko e pusiaki iau e Loesi Jack me New Zealand mo te vita Kaufusi me Katala haapai. Ko e kuwha e mo oni ko Melefatai tuitahi me Pukatala haapai pe ko e kutamai mo oni ko Finiki a Laningata me Haasini. O ku toko ono whiwhine pe toko taha tangata wau o ku whika tolu he whanau. Na o ku tuku hake i New Zealand ka o ku lolo Tonga nofo i Australia Brisbane. Malo. So I'm here I'm here to share my journey of living with ovarian cancer and what it's been like for myself for the past 4 years. And my reason for being here today is that I would like to raise awareness within the Tongan community. As I have noticed in the past 4 years, there isn't much awareness of ovarian cancer. And I think it's very important that I share this with my people. I think it's very, very, very important. So I was wondering if I could share my screen, if possible. I've just got a PowerPoint I thought would be a good idea. Sorry. Can you all see that? Okay, cool. And also I'd just like to thank my family for being here today. Balole Tele and Lavania.
Love you.
I just don't know how to, sorry, don't mind me. I don't know how to start the slideshow. Is anyone tech savvy on here?
Go to slideshow.
Slideshow. How do I get rid of this top bit on the top? Where, Lavania? Oh. Sorry, guys. I had it already.
You're all good. Take your time.
Oh, there. Okay. Thanks, sis. Okay, so let me take you back to before cancer. So here's some photos. This is what my life was like before I was diagnosed. I was 24. I was living out of home. So I moved out of home and I was living with my best friend in town here in Brisbane. And I was a flight attendant and that was my dream job. So accomplishing that was a major accomplishment for myself. All I worried about was socializing with friends, family, going out ever, working. And, you know, the last thing on my mind was my health. Being at 24, I didn't really care about health. And so it wasn't till in the mid 2017, I had started experiencing some symptoms. And as you can see on the left here, my symptoms were bloating, pain during sexual intercourse, irregular vaginal bleeding, pelvic and abdominal pain, and fatigue. But because of those, and as you can see on the right, some of those signs are, you know, as for us women, we get some of those anyway, like fatigue and bloating and all that, you know, we think that's just our part of our everyday life. And what made me go to the doctor was the irregular vaginal bleeding. So I knew it wasn't my period. My period was always irregular. And to be honest, we never really speak about periods. You know, I've noticed amongst like the Tongan families and stuff like that with Puke Whakamahina, never really talk about that and what to expect and what to look out for and all that. So I told my mom and she was like, you know, you need to go to the doctors, but it took me 3 months to go. So I finally went to the doctors and what had happened is she had booked me in for an ultrasound. And from an ultrasound, I had scans done, lots of tests, lots of blood tests. And that went on from October 2017 to December 2017. So for 3 months, I was doing all of this. Only on one occasion, I was told that you could have a rare case of cancer, but because you are healthy and young, Alisi, it could be anything like a cyst, which is very common with women, endometriosis, PCOS. And so at that time, I wasn't too worried. I wasn't too concerned. And it wasn't till in December where I had to go in for a biopsy, and I was asked by the surgeon, "Oh, do you know why you're here?" Which is what they usually do. And I said, "Oh yeah, you guys just want to check out what's going on with me." And it wasn't until then that I was told that, no, actually we suspect that you have cancer. So for those 3 months, nothing was mentioned except till my biopsy, when my biopsy was about to be done, I was told that. So from December, I was then told that I have ovarian cancer, and I had no idea what ovarian cancer was. I have never heard of it. Finding out was very soul crushing, not just for myself, but for my family. And being so young, I felt like I still had so much life ahead of me, but my whole life changed that day, because it went from just living life and wanting to accomplish my dreams, it came to having to fight every day to live. And so as you can see, a cervical a pap smear does not detect ovarian cancer. Unfortunately, there is no early detection for ovarian cancer, and researchers are trying their hardest to do that, but yeah, and that's the issue, that there is no early detection. So once I was told that at the end of December, pretty much from December to mid 2018, I had undergone a 9-hour surgery. I had to have a full hysterectomy, which means I cannot have my own biological children, and we were unable to save any of my eggs, as the cancer had spread out of my ovaries. I had half of my large bowel removed, and lots of other things removed. So it was a very grueling recovery for myself, and also did affect my family. And from the surgery, I was in hospital for about over a month. So I spent Christmas, New Year's, and my 26th birthday in hospital. But my family, so thankful of my family, who are my pillar of strength. They were by my side every day. And after surgery, I had to go through chemo. So some of you probably know someone or know of someone close to you who has gone through chemotherapy, and it's really tough. It was very tough. For 6 to 7 months, I had a lot of complications. Hospital became my second home. And as you can see, I lost my hair, and my siblings shaved their hair off for me, my parents, and also my best friend, which is a really beautiful thing. So from then on, I went through treatment, and then I went into remission at the end of 2018. So for those, if you're wondering what remission is, it's just pretty much means that, okay, you're done with treatment, you're done with surgery. We are now just going to monitor you for the next 5 years. And I think that's for all cancers, not just ovarian cancer. So here I am going into remission, and I thought it ended there. It actually didn't. That's when, for me, it started, because the aftercare with how to move on with my life of going through such a traumatic event, I didn't know how to move forward with life. I didn't know how to get back up on my own 2 feet, and I was still grieving my life before cancer. because everything happened so fast. So I went into depression. I also had trouble dealing with not being able to conceive or not having the option of being able to have my own children. As we know in our community, in our culture, you know, having kids is like one of our biggest things. It's, you know, and I guess not being able to have that, I felt less of a woman. So I had trouble grasping that, but thankful of my sisters who offered and said that, you know, sis, one day, if you ever would like a child, just let us know. We'll carry one for you. So, and that really helped. So from then on, I went back to work. I did a bit of media as an advocating for ovarian cancer. If anything, after going through that, it just motivated me more to get the word out there, because how can the deadliest female cancer, how is there not much awareness for our women? So I did a bit of traveling. I did a bit of solo traveling to America, went to Miami, living my best life, trying to move forward with life and doing all these things. And then unfortunately, last year of 2020, just when myself and my family, we thought we could move forward with life, it came back. And it was pretty hard. You know, I thought that, okay, now I'm in remission. I can move forward. I can leave that behind me and do what I can and share awareness. And here I am back at the drawing board. So last year I found out that the cancer had come back and I had been experiencing just some subtle signs, like I just didn't feel well. I felt really tired and I thought, okay, maybe I should go to the doctors. And then from then on, I had tests done again for a couple of months, and then we found out. And it's tough. It was really tough last year for myself and my closest ones, my family. It was scary. You know, not every day I am positive. Not every day I am strong. It's a really tough journey. And for me, I struggled most was my mental health. I struggled with that. You know, I went back into depression and had anxiety, and having to do, as you can see on the lower right-hand side, they had to pretty much cut me open in the same spot that they did back in 2018. And it was another massive surgery. So I had my spleen removed and other bits in my body removed. And that recovery was grueling again. I had to learn how to walk and talk at the same time, to learn how to eat again, breathe on my own again. And these are the things that we all take for granted. Once when I finished surgery, I had to do chemo again. And that was for another 6 months. And now, again, you know, it was pretty tough. The unknown is the hardest, of not knowing of what my future looks like. And that's all what my year was looking like last year. So I did start studying at the beginning of 2020, a diploma of business. And what helped me get through it is that I continued studying. I didn't defer my studies. I said, you know what, for me to feel as normal as possible, I will go to work when I can, and the company I work for have been super supportive, and I will continue my studying, as well as still share, raise awareness, and I'm quite transparent of my journey on social media. So that was 2020, and then I went into remission at the end of last year. So I did more media work. I graduated and got my diploma of business, which was a massive accomplishment. Went back to also, I enjoy going to the gym and working out. And, you know, just getting back to everyday life again. And again, it was just like, I felt like I was taking 5 steps, like when you take 2 steps ahead with your life, I felt like I was taking 5 steps back every time I thought I was getting ahead of life. That's how it felt for me. And so, unfortunately, this year, just from a random checkup, I found out that it's back again. So I was only in remission for, I wouldn't even call it remission. I felt like I was just in a break for 3-4 months. And so this, I found out in March or April, sorry, I can't recall, that the cancer had returned. Now, this time it felt very different, not for just myself, but for my family, because at the beginning, it's like, yeah, okay, Alisi, you've got cancer. You have ovarian cancer. This is what we're going to do. This is what's going to happen. Okay, so I went into remission. Then it came back last year. And it's like, okay, so this is what we're going to do. We got this. This is what, you know, to get through treatment and surgery and to move on with life. However, it came back again. But it came back within 4 months after doing everything that I did for the past 3-4 years. I felt defeated. I felt so defeated. I felt exhausted. I was scared, and also for my family. So when we found out that the cancer had returned, it is acting aggressively. So with ovarian cancer, you have high grade or low grade, and high grade reacts well with treatment, and low grade is quite resilient. Unfortunately, because I've had both in the past, again, this year, I had both high grade and low grade, so that complicated things for me. I haven't had any surgery yet, and I hope I don't have to, but at the moment now I'm currently going through treatment. So I started chemo about 4 weeks ago now, and last week I had a week break. I actually go back to treatment tomorrow. So, and again, for like the next 6 months for me is pretty much, we're going to see if chemo works for me. So we'll know in the next 4 weeks. And if it isn't working, we will have to change treatment, or yeah, I'm not too sure what that really looks like. It's kind of just going day by day. So that's kind of been my journey in a whole nutshell for the past 4 years. And you know, I sometimes sit here and I think, why me? And I am now seeing a counselor to help me cope with things. I never really would want to reach out for help back in 2018, and I found it's very important to reach out for help when you feel like you are drowning. It's okay to ask for help. And I usually would try and find the silver lining in my situation just to help me cope. And my counselor said to me that, yes, to an extent, it's okay, but I learned a thing called toxic positivity. I'm not sure if you guys heard of toxic positivity, and we all do it. We all do it unknowingly sometimes, you know. I used to have a thing called survivor's guilt, which is quite common in the cancer community, where you go, okay, well, I feel bad that I'm alive. And I've met so many women on social media who've gone through the same situation as I have. And I've watched, and well, not watched, but I've witnessed a few who are around my age pass away. And I would get that survivor's guilt. And so I'll go from like survivor's guilt, and then I'll go, okay, well, I shouldn't be complaining. I shouldn't be complaining. I should be grateful that I'm here today. I should be grateful that I have chemo, but that's called toxic positivity. And that's what led me into really bad depression. And when I go into depression, I tend to shut off. You know, waking up every day, I wake up every day with knowing that I have cancer and I sleep with it. And my thought process is that now to be open, to be, you know, I'm going to be open and raw about it, is that I'm scared. I'm so scared. I'm so scared because I don't know. I would love to make it to my 30s, you know, but with ovarian cancer currently in Australia, it's a 5-year survival rate is 46%, where we have breast cancer, they call it the cousin. Breast cancer is at 95%. So we're sitting at less than half. You know, I think of these things like, who's going to look after my parents? You know, when they're old, because that's what we do. We look after our elderly, we look after our parents. And, you know, these things that go through my mind every day of, am I going to see my siblings get married, or, sorry, or am I going to watch my nieces and nephew, you know, grow up and live their dreams and all that. And it's tough. It's really tough. And, you know, that's why I'm here today, because I would never want another woman to go through what I'm going through. And that's why I advocate for ovarian cancer, especially in our Tongan community, because I feel like there's like a taboo or a stigma, I should say. Sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, but a taboo talking about, you know, like our ovaries and our reproductive system and, you know, our vaginal area. You know, it's very taboo. And I feel like I want to change that stigma, or just to create a space for women to say, you know, it's okay to talk about it, and it's okay to go to the doctors. You can always request for a female doctor when you know if there's something wrong. So what is ovarian cancer? Here's just a bit of a background of what ovarian cancer is. So it's a cancer that begins in the female organs, which is our ovaries. And that's where our eggs are, obviously for having children. Usually with ovarian cancer, it goes undetected. So they call it the silent killer. Reason why is because the signs are so vague, and because there is no early detection. We as women, we have to be that detection. We have to know the signs, we have to know the symptoms, we know our body best. And that's what it looks like with the ovaries. So that's a healthy ovary, and that's what the cancer looks like over the ovaries. And this is the current statistics that I just found off the internet. I've known for Australia, the 5-year survival rate in Australia for ovarian cancer is sitting at 46%. And that hasn't changed in a very long time. It's underfunded. And that's the only issue, is because with my treatments, there isn't much options with treatment, because there isn't much money going towards ovarian cancer. From what I've noticed in the past 4 years, it is changing, but very slowly. In America, the 5-year survival rate is 44%. And in New Zealand's one of the worst. I think I've been told that it's at 39%. And, oh, how do I go back? Sorry. So, yes, so this is, so if you have any questions, or I'm happy to answer. I'm not a doctor, guys. I'm just sharing what I've learned the past 4 years. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, you can go ahead, or if you would like me to go over anything, I'm sorry, I may have missed out a few things. I've got chemo brain, which is real. I think for those who have had children for pregnancy, they call it pregnancy brain, I think. But yeah, I just forget a lot of things now.
I'm just going to jump in quickly, Alisi.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing with us thus far. We definitely needed to hear this Talanoa, and I commend you for speaking up. Can't keep it together. So just to introduce the Q&A protocol, feel free to mute or unmute or leave your camera on or off if you want to ask a question, or just simply put it in the chat and I can read it for you, or Alisi can, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I think there is a question there.
Oh, where do I see this? Sorry?
So from Danny, does Australia or New Zealand have a national healthcare? National healthcare?
So like our we've got Medicare. So with Medicare, I'm so thankful of that I am in Australia, because I do understand, I think in the States, the healthcare system is very different from ours. So Medicare has helped a lot. I haven't had to pay a cent up till now, as I'm now going through private. So we in Australia, you've got private health insurance, and that's optional for you. And then you've got the public healthcare system, and that's all covered by Medicare. So for the past 4 years, I'm so grateful of that. I haven't had to pay 1 cent. The only thing I've had to pay for was for my prescriptions, like the medication that the doctors give you. And even that, they've got a thing called PBS. I forgot what it stands for, but where it's subsidized. So some of the medications I was given is subsidized. So I probably pay for like half price instead of paying full price. So yes, I hope that answers your question. So like hospital stays, that was covered. My treatment was covered. My surgery was covered. There was no out of pocket for myself until now, as I've switched to the private health system. I signed up with the private health system last year because I was advised by another person who has gone through this. Unfortunately, she's no longer here with us today. She passed away from ovarian cancer. And for my situation, private health, now I see it is much better. I've changed oncologists. I went to seek second opinion. But again, I'm thankful that my treatment is still covered by my private health. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you. And
that's okay.
For sharing. Thank you. It's just those rates are stunning to me. Even with good healthcare, like the 5-year survival rate is so low.
Yeah, and you know, my mother had Lois, not my biological mother, but my mother, she had breast cancer, and they used to be sitting at where ovarian cancer is now, but because of, you know, the research and it really comes down to money, and the money, they were able to bring that survival rate up. But I was told the only reason why it's so low is because I was diagnosed at stage 3. So you got stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4 is obviously, you know, the worst of the, well, it's not the worst of the worst, but that's quite bad. Women are diagnosed at such a late stage, and they end up passing away, you know, from it. So yeah, it's crazy when I found out that's 5-year survival rate. It's scary.
Thank you, Alisi. Thanks, Danny, for that question. We have a question here from Lucky. What have you learned the most about yourself throughout the process?
Wow. Definitely I'm not the same person that I was before having cancer. What I've learned is that appreciate what you have. and what you've got around you, and appreciate what your body can do for you. I've learned so much about myself. I've learned how, I guess, strong, when the only option is to be strong, I've surprised myself of how far I've come. Yeah, it's been a very life-changing journey, and still is. I've learned to also stay true to myself, like really acknowledge, especially with my mental health, because, you know, with the physical things, that's easy, like chemo, not easy, but chemo, all that, you deal with that. But I've learned to acknowledge how I really feel, that it's okay to not be okay. Before cancer, I was just like, yeah, whatever, I'll be good, when really, nah. And it's okay to reach out for help. So I've learned a lot about myself when it comes to mental health, and to not take anything for granted. And I always say that to everyone, live in the moment, like live in the moment. You know, deal with today's problems and leave tomorrow for tomorrow.
That's beautiful. I have a question.
Yes.
I don't know if it's like the correct term to use, the best, but what is, I guess, the good or the best way to support someone that you know was currently going through cancer?
Is to be there for them. Like, you don't have to say anything. You know, don't, like, you know, with family, you know, we just want to fix it. We just want to fix it and make them feel all better. For me, I would say my advice would be just reach out. Just reach out and say, hey, just letting you know I'm here. If there's anything I can do, let me know. Because it does put the family or someone or a friend in a very awkward situation or position of, how can I help? How can I support you? And my best answer is just give them a call, visit. You can go see them, give them a text. And not just for when they're in hospital or when they're going through treatment. I always say keep that same energy for after the treatment, because I've spoken to other men and women within the cancer community who have said, once that's all done, it's like everyone thinks that you're okay because you're done for treatment and surgery, but no, that's when you need the support the most. So definitely reach out even after they finish chemo and treatment. Just keep the same energy, and don't feel like you need to fix anything or you know, say things to make them feel better. Just say, you know, I'm here with you. I hope that answers the question.
That was perfect. So we have Galu here, Loha. Apologies if I didn't pronounce that right. Up next with the question, and then we'll have Langi.
Malolele and aloha mai kako mai Maui mai. I'm from Maui. You did pronounce my name correctly, but in a very Tongan way, so I appreciate that as well. What's that called? So I actually am sitting in on this because I'm living with breast cancer. I asked Lilika, she showed me about about your presentation, and I told her I really, really wanted to hear it. So I really appreciate you sharing your journey. I'm not so open with sharing my journey until, you know, in the very beginning, when you really don't know what's going to happen. I was super protective. I'm kind of like, you either love me or you hate me. And I wasn't cool with the people who would be happy with me not doing good, knowing my business, you know? I would get mad when my mom guys would tell people, I'm like, you guys are killing me. I could tell when people know, they rub my back. I wasn't really digging that, you know, because then they knew what was happening. I didn't feel like I could be strong. So like you, in the first year, I went through 4 surgeries, 4 rounds of chemo. lost all my hair. I had really long Polynesian hair. They thought I was in remission for a year. Cancer came back. I was super pissed. And then now I get to keep my hair, but it's only because my treatment is different. And then I found out I was what in breast cancer terms and ovarian cancer terms, very different. I'm considered stage 4 once it leaves the breast. So it kind of just depends on what it is. So like I would say pre-cancer, my opinion of stage 4 was death, right? And we don't really know or understand doctor terminology, but in breast cancer, it's once it leaves the breast. And so it can be like a little itty bitty like this, and it's still considered stage 4 because it's in the lymph nodes and it can travel anywhere in your body after that. So once I found out it was stage 4, I was freaking pissed. I was like crying. I couldn't tell my mom, you know what I mean? I couldn't. Like, I explained it to her, what it meant. Just, it's out of my breast and all that stuff, but I didn't tell her the number because, you know, Polynesian parents is gonna like take it there, you know. So I explained to her that it's in different, I knew it was in a different part of my body, and that was something, Alisi, I appreciated that you were talking about, is just being aware of our bodies. I am a very tall woman. I'm like around 6 feet. I started experiencing pain. I've been a volleyball player my whole life. I'm thinking, oh, it's just residual effects, you know, of throwing my body on the ground, not realizing my cancer had spread to my bones. And guys, just so you guys know, I had a double mastectomy, taking your breasts off, right? Now you take their home away. It has to find a new home. And a lot of times it goes from your breast to either your bone or your brain. Well, if I had to choose between the two, I would choose bone, which that's where it went on its own. And honestly, had I not known, I had another friend who had surgery same day as me. We had the same doctors. I had heard that hers had traveled to her bone, which I felt super in tune with the spirit. I'm LDS. I just felt like maybe you going through the same thing as her. And I told my doctors, I'm in pain. Let's figure this out, because I don't think, like, I shouldn't have hard time standing. I'm in my 30s. That's not normal, you know? They did an MRI and they saw it in my hip. And then they're like, chemo again. Okay. I was pissed because I was like, no. You told me if I did chemo the first time, it was going to go. What's up? You know? And then they said, well, that was our first line of defense, second line. Now I'm on the chemo pill. Yeah. You guys might see commercials, Kisqali and all this kind of stuff. And honestly, it's been good for me, but that's for breast cancer. That's not for ovarian. It's so interesting how different her chemo is different than my chemo and different stuff like that. So it's so important, guys, that you guys do listen to your bodies. A lot of times we as Pacific Islanders, we see our brothers, we see our cousins, they all like drink and party and have fun. Like how Alisi said, you know, we wasn't about a health kick and all that stuff. The hard part is we might be numbing ourselves to what our bodies are trying to tell us. You know, it's so important. And so I was lucky enough that I found it on my own, and I found, you know, and I listened to my body. So when you get that, guys, when you get that intuition, go check. Serious kind, go check. Because the worst thing they're going to tell you is the best news. And well, the worst thing they're going to tell you is, yeah, you sick, let's get started. But you're going to find out faster. And then the best news is you wasted your time going to the doctor. You know what I mean? So just super, like, so important that we do talk about it, Alicia. I give you credit because I'm not so open to talk about it normally. But in this platform, it's so much easier. I did have 2 questions. One question is, because I know with me, I appreciated things more too. But something that I loved about it was it simplified life for me. I've always been a very indecisive person. What am I gonna do? What do I want? What do I want? What do I really want? Guess what? That refiner's fire burns all the unimportant things, and the most important things stick out to you. What do you want in life? And it's amazing how fast it jumps forward. So that would be my question to you, was what it was. Oh yeah, I'm all about indecisive. So what it was that jumped forward to you, and also what kind of vitamins are you taking? Because I know a bunch, sis, and I would love to share my, like, some went double my white blood cell count, the kind where my oncologist was like, what the hell did you do this month? You know, and that's only because I keep trying different things. I'm like, yeah, that's healthy, let me just, you know, scarf it down. But because they test my blood all the time, they're like, between last month and this month, what did you do different? So I would love to hear what you take for vitamins, so that we can like share what works for you, and then what works for me, you know, might help each other.
Well, I'm on no vitamins at the moment. So I would love to hear, definitely, if you're on social media, if you're on Instagram, Facebook, yeah, definitely. I'd love to hear what you are on. I'm willing to try, especially with the white blood cells. And sorry, what was your other question?
What popped itself out as like the most, you know, it's like what things disappeared, because I learned to be grateful in any situation like you, and it was amazing because a lot of blessings came after I got cancer. Like, I got one handicap placard, that was nice. I didn't like it at first. I was pissed. I was like, no, I can walk, you know, but there, you know, there was a lot of different things that popped up. And I saw somebody comment about Medicare. When I could, like, I still work and everything, but for months that I'm not feeling up to it, Medicare kicks in and I can get Medicare if I want to. So honestly, it's possible. And what's good is the oncology department, guys, they give you, there's a worker there that's what is that? Social worker. And guys, get grants out there and all different kinds of stuff. It's pretty interesting. Like, I got to do I had to do IVF treatment. That was one of my surgeries. And there's certain companies that will provide all the medication for cancer patients. It's just different. There's just nonprofits out there to help cancer patients. It's just, but yes, that was my question. I'm so sorry.
Oh my gosh, don't be sorry. Thank you for sharing that, you know, and that's what I'm all about is, you know, despite it being, I call it a crappy journey, like, yeah, but it's bittersweet. I call it very bittersweet, you know. Well, I would say I used to be the type of person who would care or what people would think about me, to be honest. You know, I would be like, oh, I don't know, you know, I don't know if I should say this or say that. And now, ever since living with this disease and what's going on with me, and you're probably, and you know what it's like, now I just don't care. I just don't care what people think of me. I've also become more confident in being more upfront, you know, just speak my truth, speak my mind. If I don't like something, just say it. As well as, yeah, I wouldn't say I was a pushover. Maybe I was a bit of a pushover, you know, just like, oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. Now, ever since having this, it's like, you know what? No, life's too short and I'm not dealing with that. Yeah. So that definitely, I guess you can say highlighted, you know, and I agree with simplifying things for me. But yeah, and it also, I noticed that the people who I thought would be there, and there's nothing against them, you know what, you with having cancer in general, you lose people on the way. And sometimes that can be family, and that hurts deeply. It cuts deep. And this is just me being super honest, and you know, and so you end up grieving because you lose those people who you thought, you know, I guess your day ones, or you call it your day ones, or your blood, or, you know, your loved ones, and you go, damn. But then you meet people along the way who, I don't know if it's filling that void, or like you just meet so many more beautiful people along the way. So yeah, okay, you lose, yeah. And that was pretty tough for me, was realizing who are really there for you. And what shocked me was that the ones who I thought would be there for me, strangers would come along and they would do more for what they have done, you know. And that was a really, it's sad. I know people deal with things differently when it comes to, but it just shows. And I feel like what I've gone through, I feel like the universe has filtered the people out of my life and are keeping the ones of who need to be in my life for today. Yes, that's what, yeah. That's what I've learned.
Completely agree with you there, sis. From family members to best friends, and like some was avoiding me and I never even know. And then they call me up, bust crying, apologizing. And I'm like, what's up? Because they're married with kids, right? So I just thought they was busy with life. And they were like, I'm so sorry. I couldn't handle seeing you weak. I was like, okay, wait, I'm still me though. You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing because you can share your strength with people when they need it. And not everybody is strong enough to do that. Or maybe they lost someone to cancer and you're a reminder of that, or I'm a reminder of that, and they just break. It's amazing. Like, so you hit that on the head for me too. People that was super close with me.
Thank you. I'll have to link up with you on social media.
Oh yeah, I put my info in there if you want to.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Thank you, ladies. That was beautiful. Now I'm going to pass the time to Langi for your question, and then we will pass the time to Nao also after Langi.
Hi, I'm Langi.
Hi, Langi.
I was wondering, because you talked about your journey from 2018 to now, with the event of the pandemic happening in Australia, and I know that like the vaccines are like, that's a whole other thing that's going on. I'm wondering how that, when the pandemic hit and when the government and the healthcare started shifting their attention to it, did that affect your treatment specifically at all? And that was my main question, yeah.
No, thank you for the question, Langi. That's a really good question. When I was going through, so we went into like, last year, it didn't actually affect my treatment at all. The only thing that affected was just like visitors coming into hospital and stuff like that. And at that time, I was okay. Now, if we're going to talk, now I'm going to talk about the now. We just went into a snap lockdown here in Brisbane and Queensland. And it's because having cancer already is it can be such a lonely feeling, an isolating feeling. Knowing that I can't take a support person with me to my treatment. So my treatments are still happening and all that. I still can do treatments. But because in the past, I've always had someone with me, like my siblings, my parents. This will be my second time going in to have treatment. And where I'm going, I tend to always be the youngest person in the room. I'll be the youngest one in the room. And if that's how it's affected me, is that I don't like going to treatment alone. I know hate's a strong word, but I hate it. Like I hate doing chemo, period. That stuff, I just don't even wish upon my worst enemy. I don't like it. I hate it. It's just too much to deal with, you know. But then having to deal with, like, you know, the pandemic and then having to go in alone. But it hasn't affected having treatment. It's more affected my mental health, really, with dealing with having to go through this regime again, but alone. Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
No, it did. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for being so honest. Yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Was there another question?
Alisi, sorry, I don't know if there's another question, but I do have a recommendation. I did 4 rounds of chemo. The first 3, my best friend went. We used to laugh through the whole time and just have a blast. We made it like a girls' day. But the 4th time, I couldn't have anybody with me, and I cried like the whole time. So I get what you're saying. I'd say either pick, like, I used to eat the whole time, which is, I don't know if you can, but like, I used to just take my favorite food and make it like a fun pick out sesh. Or like pick your favorite movie, or like you could even do something like this, or you could, so I would say pick something that like is almost like a treat for you. You know what I mean? Like something that you look forward to, like whether it's binge watch your favorite thing. I don't know, because like sometimes it'll take like 6 hours to give you the treatment. But I would say, because you can't go, now you got to go alone, right? I would say try that. Either have your specific FaceTime people that you want to talk to, that'll be so much fun for you.
Yes.
Because it takes your mind off of it, right? Or have your favorite binge sesh ready with all your favorite foods. Then it's almost like, yes, this is me time. It's just
thank you. I'm probably going to end up FaceTiming my sisters.
Okay, I've got Nao's question here. What advice would you give to someone who has many complications with their ovaries, and what best practices would you suggest as far as health, emotions, and anxiety? Sorry, guys. Sorry, excuse my nephews.
So complications with your ovaries, if you have not, I'm assuming you've gone to see your doctor. You've gone to see your doctor, and if you are not satisfied with that doctor, please seek second opinion. I have a couple. I've one girlfriend who I know who, when she found out about me and I was telling her the signs, she found out she had endometriosis. But the first doctor didn't diagnose that. I told her, no, you have to push. That's the thing, we got to be the ones to push. So go to seek a second opinion. I wouldn't be able to really provide medical advice because I'm not qualified in that area. But when you say you've got complications with your ovaries, yeah, definitely go see a gynecologist. That would be my next advice, to seeing a gynecologist. If you're not happy with your doctor, go see another doctor. Don't feel like you are betraying your doctor, because I was like that with my previous oncologist recently. But at the end of the day, this is your health. This is you are number one. Your health is priority. I'll definitely go seek someone. In regards to ovaries, with anxiety and depression, what really helped me get through it is seeing a counselor. Definitely reach out for help. I know you may have loved ones, or you probably have loved ones around you, and you may not want to open up. I found talking to a professional like a counselor or psychologist really helped me. And what helps me get through my anxiety on a daily is that I will go do something that I like to do, like as random as I'll just go for a walk, or I'll just call up whoever can make me laugh. Or the best thing to do is to acknowledge how you are feeling. Don't try and sugarcoat it by using toxic positivity. Because if anything, when you try and do that, when you tell yourself, oh no, I shouldn't be feeling anxious, or I don't know why I'm feeling depressed, I shouldn't be feeling depressed because of this and this, I should be thankful, or when you're trying to force positivity on that, that makes it worse. And I used to do that all the time, and always it made it worse. So yeah, I would definitely seek help if you can, if you have the resources. Or you can just hit me up if you like on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. Yeah. I hope that answers your question now.
Can I do a follow-up question? Is that okay?
Yes.
I wanted to ask you what made you leave your former oncologist. Was it they weren't giving you what you felt like you needed, or was it just clash of, personality? I completely understand to the point when you say you've got to push like professionals, and I feel like as Tongans, sometimes, let me not speak for the whole Tongan community. me as a Tongan, that I sometimes feel like I was raised to not question authority. And people who have like some type of degree, like a doctor degree, medical degree, that would be shameful for me to be like, no, I need you to look more into this. I don't feel well, or something like that. So a lot of times I find myself like suppressing my pain, because I feel like I gotta be strong, because it's not Tongan to be weak. And weak is so far from where we are in this conversation. Like strength is being able to communicate what you need. And so I'm just wondering how'd that conversation go with you? How'd you navigate, like, I don't know if you felt similar growing up too, being like, you don't question authority, but I'd love to hear your experience.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, definitely growing up, because my parents, mum's Māori, my biological parents are Tongan, and my parents who adopted me, who I know as mum and dad, mum's Māori and dad's Tongan. So mum is she's more, not West, I should say Western, but I didn't really grow up in the Tongan way, but I was surrounded by it with my siblings and seeing my biological parents and all that. But definitely, yeah, not questioning authority. Yes, I was part of that. Yeah, growing up was like, don't question authority. You just get told what to do, how to do it. This is what you do. Keep your mouth shut type of thing. With the changing oncologist, I'm very grateful of her, Dr. Shannon. So she was part of the public system. Very grateful of her, what she had done for me for the past 3-4 years. But I had known of this other oncologist, but he was through the private health, and he was recommended by a couple of people because he was part of the lead. He was leading in some research for ovarian cancer, but he predominantly focuses on ovarian cancer. And all it took for me was just for one visit. I never really questioned my oncologist. And it was she was very, I wouldn't say she was a blasé, but you just felt like another patient. And I understand she's got there's so many, to do it. And I'm so grateful that, I don't have to pay for anything like that. But it came to the point where it's like, okay, it keeps coming back. Something's not working. I need to figure out what's going on. So I was told to seek second opinion, advised by someone to seek second opinion. And girl, I tell you now, what Mum and I were told, because Mum was a bit iffy. She's like, oh, we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't, we should stay loyal to Dr. Shannon. It's like, no, Mum, in the medical field, even my own local GP said it's okay to seek second opinion, and doctors do it amongst themselves too. They seek second opinion from each other, and when I went to see him, his name is Dr. Jim Coward, what he told us in that appointment, the initial appointment, he told us more than what we've been told in the past 4 years. Yeah. My mum cried. She cried because he was much more informative, but I learned so much more of my own cancer than what I've been told So when he did that, that was my deal breaker. I said, okay, this is what I need to do. And now he just doesn't wait. I asked my previous oncologist that, oh, are we going to do a CT scan? Do we check like if treatment's working? She said, no, we don't need to do that. However, he has said, oh no, yeah, we're going to check. We're going to check after 4 to 6 weeks. We're going to do a CT scan because I want to see if this is working. What's the point in putting you through 6 months of treatment, finding out that it's not working? And he even asked me and saying, did they tell you if chemo was working? And I was like, oh, I don't know, because I don't question it. I just get told what to do and how to do it. Come to this appointment, yeah, okay, yeah. Because, you know, you trust them. And that's not me chucking her under the bus because she's great. But yes, so many doctors don't check. Yes. And that's where I say, I always push for, I know it gets a bit awkward seeking second opinion, but I just think, no, I need to put myself first. You need to put yourself first because no one else is going to do it but you.
Thank you for that. That was such a great question. All the questions have been wonderful. Just before we wrap up, does anyone else have any more questions for Alisi?
Thank you for the questions.
I think Greg's coming in.
Oh, Greg.
Can I say hi? Hi, Alisi.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Greg.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Hey, I finally made it in. But thank you for joining us. I just want to say that I admire you for your courage, and you know that's one of the reasons why I reached out to you to be on OKT. And I mean, it's kind of personal to me that that this cancer thing, because my oldest daughter at 1.5 years old was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. And, after treatment, she went into remission. And then she had a relapse again at 4 years old. So, going back, had to go through the treatment. And fortunately that, she was able to, get back into remission. And she never, it's funny that she never talked about her cancer to her friends, as growing up. But it's funny that, right now she's a nurse now, so, which is kind of funny. But, I considered you, you're a hero to go through all this, and you're, and also your support group, are heroes too, like your family and your friends and, the medical staff. So,
yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for putting it out there, Greg. Thank you. Thank you for setting it up. And thank you, Melefatai, for doing this and setting it up too.
Yeah, I'm glad Melly is. you're doing the, what do you call that? Thing right now. But I'm glad you're, you're facilitating.
That's right.
I think Mike also wants to say a few things.
I just wanted to say thank you so much, Alisi. Like, what an amazing talanoa. Like, I can't even express my gratitude for being in a space like this to hear something like this. I think, like, as a Polynesian male, we don't get many opportunities to be part of a talanoa like this. So, like, honestly, amazing. And it just made me reflect about, like, what I've just been exposed to, which is this talanoa around ovarian cancer. And like you said at the start, like, there's probably a lot of tapu around even hearing this, firstly amongst women talking about it, but then even extended further to like men being like, no, you guys can't even talk or hear about this kind of stuff, but this is just like to the realm of women only. So then I was wondering what sort of positive impacts might you have seen in your family, maybe particularly amongst the males in your family, around like with you going through this experience and how it might have allowed this discussion to arise within your family and like remove the tapu of like not talking about things like this. Have you seen any of that?
Well, in my family, it's mostly women. I've got to say that, So my poor brother, the youngest, and he's like 21, bless his soul. I would say for the men, like more so much for my father, because he's like, what, 70 to 71. So, you know, he grew up in that area where it's so fuck upper. So even like talk about what I spoke about today, you know, and I remember, especially the male, when I started coming open on my social media that, no, Alisi, you shouldn't be talking about that. No, you keep that behind closed doors. You don't talk about that stuff. But what I've noticed that it's changed with, I think with the men, more so much for my dad. My brother, he's pretty good with this, realizing that not only women need to know this, it's important that men need to know this, because, you know, our men have sisters, you know, either got sisters, your wife, girlfriend, and it's important for them to know what goes on in the woman's body. Very important, you know, like, but it's, if anything, I think it's not as awkward with Dad. He actually came to a point where, and it's the biggest no-no, but where my dad had to shower me and dress me because Mom couldn't. And I think from then it was like, oh, okay, yeah. So I hope that helps answer your question.
Yeah, it's really useful. Malo, Alisi.
Thank you.
Malo, that was a great question. Thank you, Alisi. I think Galu here, aloha. Sorry.
You guys can call me Luki.
Also, get Danny. Also have raised
just just going off of something that he just said, for those men can get rarer than it is for others, or obviously guys can't get it because they don't got ovaries. But what's thought of as a female cancer, breast cancer, can actually be gotten by guys too. So it's so important for us to check our bodies, for us to be aware of a lump that wasn't there. And yes, sometimes it can be a cyst. Yes, sometimes it can be fatty tissue, and it's not, but it's still better to check. It's still better to check. And guys, the way I found out, I went to get a massage, and I had really big boobs before, and the table is hard, right? And so when I went to flip over and lay on my chest, it was uncomfortable. And so I was like, what is that? And I started trying to feel, because usually like a female's breasts get more tender when she's about to get her period. So I thought it was that. And then I found the lump. And then I was like, okay, wait. And mind you, I had been going to the gynecologist, and it was during a period of time that's how fast it grew. So, so important. If something feels weird, if something hurts, check it out. You know your body, you know, so it's so important. And guys, something else they didn't find out, which I'm sure Alisi, same with you, the cancer, like sugar feeds cancer. And that was something I didn't really know until I got cancer. Sugar feeds it. So you can try your best to starve it by not eating certain things. And cancer also thrives in an acidic state. So like fried food, sugar and stuff like that, cancer likes that. And unfortunately, sugar is everywhere. Alisi, I watched a documentary once, and it turned me into feeling like a victim to wanting to fight even more. It's called The Magic Pill. It's pretty amazing because it follows a bunch of different types of diseases, but it also follows like the Aborigines, so like indigenous people and the things that we go through. But it changed my mindset. And like you said, that mental health is so important. But I think these are things that something that is said in the video was, what do you guys have? And a bunch of people had diabetes and cancer. What did your parents die of? Oh, what did your grandparents die of? Old age. And that resonated with me as an Indigenous person, because I come from people who died at 110 years old.
Yeah.
And as natives, we know that our grandparents and great grandparents died when they were really old. What's the difference? Our diet, you know, is so important. And these foods are literally doing that. So guys, YouTube, that was huge. The magic pill, it just opens up your eyes to that kind of stuff. So just be careful what you're eating. Sorry. Mahalo.
Thank you for sharing that. I'll definitely look into that. But you're so right with the whole diet thing. I definitely look into that. Thank you.
Super quick, sorry. But because it kind of got brought up, I was wondering if you had preferred women doctors before, and then it like happened to be that the really good oncologist was a man, because for me, I avoid having male doctors, and I think especially as a gynecologist, that would be like my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
And so I'm just wondering like how that experience went for you.
Oh my gosh, Daddy, that's a really good question. Now that you made me think, now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, my local GP, she was a woman. I guess for me, it didn't really bother me, but I know for some women it may, you know, having a male doctor. But now it's really strange now, because it's like, you know, them being a female doctor, you know, they know how our bodies work. They know how it all works. And then being a woman, I'm being a woman, you know, it all, yeah. But if anything, with having now a male oncologist, I guess I would say I've never really looked at it that way. But thank you, though, for bringing it up, because now I'm going to start thinking about it. No, don't think any. No, it's a good question. It's so good. It's such a good question. But for me personally, I guess over the years, and I had seen, like I had a specialist who had to, one of the specialists, I guess because how I saw it was, okay, I trust you. I know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Here you are trying to find out what I have and trying to help me. He had to do an internal scan. And I was taking a bit, like, I was like, oh my gosh. But then at the same time, I was like, oh no, okay. I have to trust them, because at the end of the day, they're trying to save my life or trying to figure out what's going on with me. But yeah, I guess I've never really had so much thought into that where I couldn't really answer that for you. Sorry, Danny.
No, it's okay. That's why I didn't like ask it earlier, because I was like, this might not apply. But I feel like one of the first times I ever advocated for myself was when I was assigned, the first time I ever went to a gynecologist, they like gave me a man, and then I called my mom and I like cried for 20 minutes. And then I called them back and was like, I can't do that. Can you please give me a woman? And they like were like, oh yeah, totally. And just switched it. So like that, it was just like, it came to my mind because I feel like that was the first time that I ever not stood up for myself, but felt like, yeah, I guess kind of stood up for myself.
And it's good, because I've met women who only prefer, who are going through the same situation as I am, who only prefer female doctors and who only want female doctors, or especially female gynecologists. So what you did was right. And I'm glad that they were able to do that right away. Because if they said no, I would have been like, huh, that is so not allowed. They should, yeah. No, that's good that you did that though.
Thank you.
Thanks, Daddy.
Thank you, Danny. The floor is yours, Lisiate.
Oh, sorry, Alisi. Just thank you for this. You know, just sitting and hearing your story, you know, and your ongoing journey. It's just it's really empowering. And like Saya said, you know, it's important for men in our community to learn it too, because you know we have significant others, we have sisters, you know, daughters and whatnot, and it's important to bring this stuff up. It makes me laugh about toxic positivity because something I just learned this year. But I was like, do you have anything else that like you would tell people like not to do like when engaging with like a cancer patient or like along the lines of toxic positivity or anything like that? Do you have any tips of things that, because you know sometimes people like they're weird around you know? So yeah, any tips like that? But thank you so much, Alisi.
No, thank you, Lisiate. I would say what I've learned over the past 4 years, my best advice is you don't, you know, if they're upset or anything, you could just say, look, what I found is just letting them know that you are there for them. If they are upset or they're angry or, you know, or they just want someone to cry to, you can just, all you have to do is just listen to them. Usually they just want to be heard. Some people don't like the whole sympathy thing, showing sympathy, you know, or don't treat them any different. I would say if you know someone who's just want to be treated the same, just the same. But what I wouldn't say is for me, because I always get it all the time, but I don't take it personal because I understand what that person is trying to do is you don't look sick. Like, you know, like, oh, you don't look sick. So how do you have cancer? You know, and I think that's the whole stigma with cancer is that you could be the healthiest person on earth and you could look really good on the outside, but it's a whole different story in the inside, you know? So definitely they're saying, oh yeah, you don't look sick. Because I always get that all the time. And there have been times where I've not snapped, but this is more the people who are close to me where I'm like, oh my gosh, but I don't like, I feel like crap. Like I don't feel good. I don't like it. I don't feel crap. And I you know, yeah, I would say don't look sick. Congratulations, you've beat cancer. When they do treatment, congratulations, you've beat cancer. And again, you know, they don't know what to say, but I probably wouldn't say that because at the end of the day, it's like, well, it didn't really, you know, there's always that chance when you have cancer, there's always that chance of it coming back really. And it's more like, yeah, for me, I told my family, like, if you can't look on the bright side, just sit in the dark with me. And we can just, you know, let's just sit in the dark with me and then we can get through this together. But yeah, I also found I went on the internet and I literally typed in what not to say because I have to also be mindful when I talk to other women who have gone through it before or other men who have gone through it before. So I have to keep in mind, okay, well, yeah. So I even just go on Google what not to say to a person going through cancer. And I also tell people who have been either through a similar situation as mine or even a traumatic event, and it doesn't have to be cancer related, and this is just me rehashing on mental health, is that you don't need to compare your battles. It's not a competition. I've had people say to me like, oh, Alisi, I shouldn't be complaining to you because I'm going through this, or, you know, you're going through so much worse, and it's your journey at the end of the day and it's what you have to deal with. Sorry, now I'm going out of topic, but that's just me saying with the, that don't feel like you should compare your battles, your journey, what you're going through. Yeah, don't compare it because I used to do that. Doesn't help. Yeah, definitely just hear a person out who's going through it, who's going through cancer. Just hear them out, support them, let them know you're there. And I wouldn't say everything's going to be fine. Sometimes when you say that, makes them more upset. They may not show it, but it makes them more upset that everything's going to be okay. And at that time, maybe not everything's going to be okay. And it's like, you know what, let's just get through this together. Let's just take one day at a time. That will be my best advice, is saying that to someone who's going through this. Let's just do this together. I'm in this with you, and we'll just take it one day at a time. I hope that helps, Lisiate. I kind of went off topic.
Thank you, Alisi. Yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
Alisi, how do you allow yourself grace? Like, you talk about this toxic positivity.
Yeah.
how do you like put, like, do you have boundaries in which you give yourself to like not be like this person that takes everybody's burdens in, you know, because I'm sure when people come to you sometimes they have this toxic positivity towards like your situation. How do you just say like, nah, I need you to know that I had a shitty day and I need you to know that I'd be like, how do you allow yourself that space? And what does that look like for you? And I don't know, I love to be here for you as what you're telling us to tell people. I want to tell you, I'm here for you. Let me not cry. Okay. And if I can show up for you in any way.
Oh my gosh, stop. Oh, it's kind of and it's okay. You can let it, this is all, it's very raw, it's very open. It's fine.
Yeah. Let me know how I can show up, but how do you allow yourself to be mad? And you know, even though you know that the person that is coming to you wants you to be positive all the time, how do you exercise that? Like, what does that practice look like for you?
I actually had this discussion with my counselor a couple of weeks ago because I was struggling, to be honest, I was struggling with that. I didn't know how to, you know, when someone's like saying like all these things like, oh, you know, you don't look sick, Alisi, everything's going to be okay. And at that moment, I'm like at my lowest, you know. And I asked my counselor, how can I go about, how do I, you know, what do I do? When someone does that to me, usually I would just tell them, say, oh, I actually don't feel okay today. And that took me a while to say that. But then I noticed when I say that, it changes the whole conversation to like, oh my gosh, do you want to talk about it? We don't have to talk. Or I would say like, I'm still learning how to do that though with people. Or what I go through my mind is like, oh, okay, that's not their intention. They don't know what to say to me. So I used to take it really, I guess, personal, and I used to carry it and I'll be like, oh my gosh, and it would really mess with my head. But now when people say that to me, I just go, oh, that's them just trying to help me. That is them. And this is more for people who don't really know what I'm actually like, how I'm really feeling. It's more with my close ones, like my closest friends and my family. I just let them know how I'm really feeling. And I just tell them, look, if I'm feeling really crappy, I don't expect you to try and be positive because it doesn't help. But yeah, I'm still learning to navigate that, sis. I really am. And I'm not going to lie, it's hard. But really what helps me is that I just think, oh no, they don't know what to say to me. So that's the only thing that they can say. And that's why now I talk about it with the whole toxic positivity and mental health with cancer, having cancer. So then to make you guys aware of it and how you can help people of what to say. I hope that helps. That's your question. Yeah, they mean well, but it can be aggravating. Yes, it can be very aggravating because you're like, no, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I don't want to, to be honest, it's like, no, I don't, I don't want to pray. I don't want to pray. I don't want to pray right now. I don't want to pray. I just need to be in this moment. If you can just be in this moment with me, then we can move forward. But yeah, sometimes it'll come like that. Like, bless my dad, my poor dad. He'll be like, just go lotu, Alisi. Just go lotu. Go lotu. And it's like, no, Dad, no. But they're now more aware of what to do.
That's so true. Yeah, that was such a great question, Paulina. All the questions have been wonderful. And I just wanted to mention this thought that Nao had just put in the chat just recently that that reminds her of not reminds her to not have everything, that reminds her that not everything needs to have an answer or resolution. Sometimes just voicing it is what is needed at that moment.
That's it. Yeah. Just want to be heard. And that's what we just want to be heard. Everyone wants to be heard. It's not an answer to everything at that time. So right now.
Thank you. Does anyone have any last questions just before we wrap up?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Malolele kainga.
Oh, hi,
Josie. Nice to meet you, Alisi. Most people
nice to meet you.
Christina. But yeah, I'm so thankful for you joining this space and sharing. And I think that a lot of things that you shared, it was powerful. And I just think about how cancer shows up in our community, in our families more and more. And the things that you said will always resonate because I have family members who are going through cancer right now. So it's much appreciated, even just to hear what you said, for it to be a reminder and how important it is just to be there. And not with all that toxic positivity. And yes, I'm guilty and it's something I have to unlearn. And I feel like sometimes we always want to be that light.
Yeah.
It's like actually not a light. Like not helpful. And so, yeah, I just wanted to thank you and say that I'm happy to see you in this space. And you being here just means a lot. And speaking on this, on ovarian cancer, and just being an advocate in our community specifically, I can say that it means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to others. And what you shared, we can share. And there's so much power in that. So thank you. And thank you for your strength.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, no, it's very important. And before you wrap this up, Melefatai, like I said at the beginning, my whole reason of being here today, because I've only spoken in front of people of non-color, like, you know, Palangis or I hate saying it, but white people, you know, like non-Pacific Islander people, you know, and I love it, like, you know, but my aim has always been to talk to my people, the Tongan people, the Pacific Island community. You know, it's very important because if I can share this knowledge amongst our community, like you said, you know, it goes a long way. And to be a woman of color and to be a woman, a Tongan woman, a Polynesian woman, a Pacifica woman, to be able to advocate for this and speak about it, it motivates me. And today you guys have motivated me even more to try and reach out to our Tongan and Pacifica people. So important.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say something? Oh, Alisi, yes. So much for being nervous. Looks like you did good. But just wanted to let you know that, you know, you have family here. So.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
I'm not crying. Yeah, a little emotional. No, thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you for that, Greg. Yes, you definitely have a family here. I just want to echo what everyone has shared, that we are so grateful. It has been such an honor and a blessing to hear from you, Alisi. Yeah, we just want you to know that we love you, that we hear you, and that we have definitely learned something. There was definitely a lot of unpacking and unlearning today, learning about things like toxic positivity. I know I can be one of those people, but yeah, it's truly amazing to just be able to have you share and be open with us. As Josie had mentioned, I know that we all know somebody in our families or in our communities who has been going through this, and we all have lost loved ones to this disease. And yeah, it's just such a blessing to have you today. Before we close, we usually take a group photo. So if you don't want to be in the photo, that's totally fine. You can turn your camera off. I'm going to get in trouble by Lilika if I forget to do this photo. So everyone, please get camera ready. I'll just give us like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown. But yeah, this Zoom is recorded, so it will be uploaded on YouTube. And also malo apito to all of you for sharing your thoughts and your input, and for the amazing questions and this talanoa with Alisi. Thank you, malo apito. Okay, get ready. Let me get ready. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cheese. I got it. And also, I hope this chops off in the recording.